Today we're talking about 5 things you need to know before you lift your SUV or pickup truck. But first, coffee. Some really good coffee, man. I like that Nespresso machine. Before I start, I just want to say that I only had one truck. I only lifted one truck once. So this is for everyone who wants to find out what it's really like. Because you have a lot of people who just say like, oh, you do this, do that, do this. And I don't explain why. So anyways, let's get right into it and talk about pricing. So basically, the more you pay, the better kit you get. The stronger it is, the better quality materials, the more it can do, the more it can withstand, and the better it is for your truck. Usually, of course, there are some exceptions when it comes to brands. You know, we know how great brands always price up a little bit more because they're just known and they can actually do that. But in general, if you buy a cheaper kit, you're gonna have cheaper shocks, which are probably not gonna be made out of aluminum but steel. They're gonna rust, and over time, your truck is going to hurt for it. So in the long run, if you plan to keep it for a while, you might need to spend more money. So sometimes it's just better to take a more expensive kit to begin with and, just have peace of mind of nothing failing and nothing really going wrong. I personally went with BDS. I'm not sponsored by them, but I really like the brand because they have warranty in all parts. You break it, they'll send you a new one, no questions asked. And I really like that kind of approach to buying something that I've pretty much never experienced before. There are also more costs that come in with the kit. So for example, if you get more performance shocks, for example, coilovers, all of that adds to how much you're going to be paying. And then you have wheels and tires. So one of the big reasons why people buy lift kits is because they want to fit bigger wheels and bigger tires, or smaller wheels and bigger tires. Basically a bigger diameter tire that can help you go off-road and give you more ground clearance and so on and so forth. However, they are not cheap. You want to get a good set of tires, you're going to pay out more money than you would with your stock tires. And the same thing is with the wheels. You got to get new wheels, you got to make sure that they fit the kit, because some kits have a certain parameter that you have to go with. So for example, my BDS kit could only have 20-inch wheels. I couldn't go smaller than that. 20-inch wheels weigh a lot. And if you add like a 35-inch tire or a 37 or whatever you're going for on top of that, you're going to lose out on a lot of performance from that truck. Now, gas mileage is not a thing that most people consider when they're buying a truck. Every single time I talk about it, I just get attacked. You don't buy a truck for gas mileage. That is true. But if you lift your truck, it's less aerodynamic. You got heavier wheels and tires. You got more things bolted on to the frame. And that makes it even worse. So I was looking at around 16 to 17 liters per 100 kilometer when I was stock. And then everything on, it went up to like 22, 23. And that means if you're doing long trips, you're gonna have to stop at the gas station more often, and it's just kind of an inconvenience. But I mean, if you like the way it looks, you go through it, right? And trucks aren't about gas mileage. If you cared about gas mileage, you get a Prius, right? Another thing that is important is the fact that the ride will never be the same. Now, to some people, this might be absolutely obvious, but to others, they might think, oh, I know I'm getting better shocks, I'm getting better springs, it might be, the same or whatever. No, it's never gonna be the same. In some cases, it could be quite similar, but you need to remember that this all depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to have an on-road truck, then you can go with softer springs and softer shocks that will give you a better ride. But if you want better off-road capability, you need to go with the harder shocks, and that really hurts ride quality. But at the end of the day, if it looks cool, right, you just deal with it. But if you have one truck and that's your daily driver, you will have to endure a lot worse ride. And it's, for some people it might not make a huge difference, but for others can really kill it. And on top of that, you're a lot higher, so you can't park in specific places. You're wider if you got wider wheels, so it's harder. It's harder to live with, but you can deal with it. I did deal with it, and I was absolutely fine. But those are some things that you really need to consider before you get a lift kit. Now, the costs don't end there. On top of that, you need to figure out where you're gonna mount this thing. Are you gonna do it yourself? You can, it's possible, but it's quite difficult. You need a lot of tools and you need a jack or a lift or something that can pick up your vehicle so that you can do the installation. Now, I went to a place and got it done, and that added more cost to the whole build, but it gave me a peace of mind that the fact that they knew what they were doing and everything would be fine. On top of that, you might encounter even more problems, like my Ram, for example, where I went off-roading with it with the BDS kit installed, and the drive shaft started hitting a skid plate underneath. And there were just no instructions about, cutting the skid plate, giving it more clearance or whatnot. So you might end up having smaller issues down the road, as well as like I got wider wheels, so I still needed to trim the body to be able to fit them. So just getting a lift kit doesn't mean it's gonna solve all your problems. You might have some minor ones on the way, but once it's done, I think it's really worth it. I loved how my truck looked. People who've been following know that I sold it, but that's because I'm getting the TRX. And would I lift it again? I don't know. I need to see what kind of kits are available, what they'll actually do. I want to be able to drive this thing fast off-road like it was meant to, and not, be in that predicament where I'm adding weight, it's getting slower, and I'm just getting frustrated. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell notification button so you don't miss out on any future videos. I'm getting a cool car that I'm reviewing this weekend, so we'll see you on Sunday. Take care.